What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Cologne. Today, we're going to be looking at and reviewing Stronger with You Parfum. Let's get into it. So, first things first, this is not my fragrance. The winner of the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, Mr. Everyday Guy, this is the fragrance that he wanted to go with, which is perfectly fine. And to my surprise, he requested a review before I sent it to him. I'd only had a sample of this. I thought it was very good. It just wasn't on the top of the list for me to purchase yet. And he requested this one. I said that's absolutely no problem. And then he kind of hit me with a surprise. He wanted a breakdown on it. And with that breakdown, I worked out a little deal with him. I basically bought 10 mils of this, and I'm going to do what I've done in the past few videos. If you want a sample of this fragrance, leave a comment down on the video. I'll leave it up for 1 or 2 days comment wise, and I'll get a couple samples. I'll get 2 samples sent out to some of y'all. That's something that's really been fun lately. Obviously, I would appreciate it if y'all would subscribe to the channel. That is what helps the channel grow. But that's enough yapping about the other stuff. Time to get into the fragrance. So we're going to start off the way we always like to start off, and that is going to be showing off the atomizer. And the atomizer on this one is very, very good. You get a wide burst, you get a projected burst. This thing moves a lot of juice in a very short period of time. And as funny as it sounds, the pump is very good. And I still hate these caps. I love the Stronger With You line. I love almost every fragrance in it. Despise these caps. Really don't like these for some reason. What you get when this fragrance gets in the air is to me, it's a very kind of dry leather. Right off the top, you get a little, and it's not a harsh leather at all. It does seem a little darker, does seem a little richer kind of a leather, but it's very dry. It's almost like I don't want to say like a boot leather, but it's almost like a rawhide kind of leather that you get off the nose of it. But that goes very quickly with a lot of sweetness that kind of comes off the top of this. And I also get an immediate dose of a nuttiness, some of that chestnut. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put a few there on the hand, fight with the collar. We're going to get this drying down, and we're going to go over some of the notes of this real quick. So Emporio Armani, they gave us 6 notes instead of 3. The top notes on this is going to be pink pepper and mandarin. The middle notes on this is going to be lavender and sage. And the base notes on this are going to be chestnut and vanilla. And honestly, I get more of the base notes than anything when I first put this on. I get a little bit of that pepper. It's really not bad. I don't get any of the citrus off this. I really don't get any floral off this either. This has a hint of greenness to it. I really wouldn't call this aromatic. It's got a little bit of a lightness with some of that leather. And honestly, they don't even really have leather as an official note on this, but it is definitely prominent. Leather is one of the things that as soon as you spray it, like I said, you're kind of immediately hit with a dryness of it. But it smells really, really good though. But after about 5 or 10 minutes, a little bit of that lavender sage start to peek through a little bit. It starts to get just a hair of it as more of like a background note than something that's in the forefront. And then the main thing you're hit with pretty much from 10 minutes to that hour range is going to be a beautiful sweetness. It's not necessarily gourmand, but it is a very realistic kind of sweetness paired with a good chestnut. And some of that can kind of lead to a little bit of a booziness. So I know rum is not an official note in this, but I almost feel like I get a hair of like a boozy vibe to it. And the more it dries down, the sweetness is going to get a little bit louder and the chestnut falls back just a little bit. And this does start to develop a little bit of a boozy gourmand. It's very light as far as the profile goes. Now the fragrance itself is very heavy. This is definitely going to be a winter fragrance. But we're going to segue to the price, performance, and availability. Availability wise, this is going to be everywhere. I'm pretty sure this is already on Joma. Most retail stores are already going to have this. Discounter wise is basically not discounted at all. Actually, I want to say retail, this runs about $130. Discounter prices are around that $120 range, so virtually no discount yet. As far as performance goes, this thing is very, very good. I got about 8 hours on skin of kind of active movement. The sillage is good. It's about that 3-foot range, and the projection very close to skin, but still very good because the sillage does make this move around so easy. The projection, you can kind of fool a little bit. It's about that 1-foot range. So as this fragrance starts to dry down a little bit, when you start working into the deeper parts of the dry down, this fragrance is incredibly warm. This fragrance is incredibly sweet. The chestnut dies off and then kind of gets louder. There's a little dip where some more stuff pull through it. But as it goes, the chestnut starts ramping back up, especially into the deeper parts of the dry down. And a lot of that vanilla starts to pull through in the deeper parts of the dry down as well. So some of that leathery background definitely fades to the back of this a little bit. I wouldn't say it's gone really ever, but the dry leather that you get turns into more of like a soft leather, a little cleaner leather. Some of the chestnut, the sweetness and the warmth really kind of starts just wrapping you up in this fragrance in the deeper parts of the dry down. And that's kind of where it stays. This thing finds a beautiful, happy ground of a leathery background, warm, sweet, little bit of gourmand. It kind of keeps a little bit of touch of a rum, but you never really like fully pick it up. Like you really can't say that that was something that went in this. You almost feel like you want it to be there. Now, as far as what this fragrance reminds me of, me personally, this is a more chestnut forward version of Absolutely. If you took the more dominant rum and replaced it with a background of leather and you turned a chestnut note on that up to probably a 10, that's where they do start to get similar. I don't think this one smells similar really to any of the other ones in the collection. This one will have some of that sweetness from the new Intensely, has some of that kind of rum, just raw power from some of the Absolutelys. The Strong With You tobacco that they released last year has some of the spiciness this one kind of has. I really feel this one took a beautiful blend of all the fragrances and just kind of squished them up into one. So as far as the whole fragrance goes, this thing smells very good. It has a little bit of a change from the opening to the top. I never really get any of that citrus off the opening, but on my skin, citrus notes don't tend to hold very well. But as far as the release of the fragrance, I feel like the release is slightly poorly timed. This is definitely a cold weather fragrance. I would not try this fragrance at all in heat. But as far as this fragrance entirely, is very, very good. If I was to give this fragrance a rating right now, I would honestly give it like a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I wouldn't push it to a true 10 is I do like Absolutely just a little bit more. The chestnut note on this, as beautiful as it is a little bit loud. There's so much that is just really, really good about this fragrance. Some of the light touches of gourmand, some of the touches of booze you get, some of the warmth you get, a lot of the warmth you get. Everything that is a profile about this fragrance to me screams like a date fragrance, definitely a nighttime fragrance. That's what I pick up off this. Now, obviously, everybody's skin is going to be a little bit different. Everybody's going to pick up slightly different things. But to me, I feel like this was a rock solid release. I don't really feel like any of the Strong With You line has went in a bad direction. And I would say that this is definitely, for me, I'm probably going to go out and buy one now. So Everyday Guy, thank you for kind of letting me borrow this. For some reason, this on the nose smelled just a little bit different than the sample I got. And I know they weren't different. I was there when the sample was made up. I know it's the same, but for some reason, it could be because I've worn it once or twice. It could be because like clean leather fragrances are slowly growing on me a little bit. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking for a bottle of this one now. But I do think that is going to get us wrapped up for this one. Go ahead and get on this bottle one more time. As far as bottle quality goes, the same as all of them. The quality of this bottle is absolutely amazing. It's good, thick glass. It's heavy. I hate this cap. You can hold it by the cap. But as far as the overall presentation goes, very, very good. And even for paying the $130 price range for this, I don't think it's bad. I just wish it was just a hair cheaper, because the original Strong With You right now for 100 mils like $100. Strong With You Intensely, I think, is like 105 or 110. You can find Absolutely floating around for about that 115 range. So this one is a little bit more pricey than I expected it to come out at, but with the rising prices and everything, I guess there's got to be a give somewhere, right? But that is going to get us wrapped up for today. As always, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for subscribing, for sticking around, staying tuned, feedback on the channel, commenting on the videos. I truly appreciate all that. But that's going to be enough yapping for today. As always, we will see you next time.